book of Lamentations, chapter 4, point is verse 9. I'm going to start at verse 6, and it reads, "For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom, that was overthrown as in a moment, and no hand stayed on her. Her Nazarites were purer than snow, they were whiter than milk, they were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. Their vintage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It is become like a stick. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field." I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to Kol Elohim, Ba Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahushai, Ba Hashem Racha Kodash Rakatham. I want to say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwath, as well as the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say Shalom. It's the brother Yahweh Sop out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant. And I'm coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. In this lesson, in this regards to an article I seen on my Newsbreak app, I think a couple days ago, but I'm just not getting the opportunity to go into the lesson. Salakia, I'm driving. I don't have a setup where you can put the phone on the the little stick or whatever while you drive. So bear with me, Baba Kasha. I'm trying to drive and maintain the camera at the same time. I maybe need to invest in one, but there's so much stuff going on. So anyway, it says famine is those that will be slain with the sword are better than those that die by famine. Which when you go to the word, it means to the word pine away means to rot. Let me see if I can get it. Nope. Salakia. Salakia. Bear with me for a second. So the word for pine in the Hebrew is zu, azab, and it's H2100, and it basically goes into waste away. So you rot away, you know what I mean? I was listening to the brother, I forgot the brother's name. I've only heard one, I've never heard that brother mention it, and the brother in my camp, one of the heads, mentioned his name, but I really, sometimes, that's why I ask for the meaning of brothers' names as opposed to trying to get their name sometimes, because you can always learn their name if you know the meaning of the words and know what their name mean, as opposed to trying to pronounce it or say it sometimes, But he was going into how, it's going to be hard out here for food, and when you can't find food, your body becomes the food, because your body will eat itself. That's why, hence, rot away. So, this article is out of my Newsbreak app, and it goes into, I think it's out of the Guardian. But it says UN, which is spiritual, UN, thousands in West Central Africa could face starvation. So this is out of the Associated Press. Dakar, Senegal. More than 25,000 people could face starvation in conflict-plagued parts of West Africa next year, a United Nations official warned Friday. And it's spiritual, because the elder was talking about how something big might start off the new year 2023. This is 2022 has truly been the year of the turn up. Actually, every name prediction for the year that the elder has basically came out with since I've been in the truth seems like it's been spot on. Definitely the year of the turn up. I don't know what the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to call this year, but I mean Salaki next year, but regardless of the fact, it's 2023 is going to be a major year. When you go into that, that's a 7. 20, 2, 2, 4 plus a 3, 7. 7 is completion. So, with that being said, let's see how that goes. It says Frederico Don of the World Food Program said violence and economic fallout of the CV-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine are largely driving the threat to people in Nigeria, Mali, and Burkina Faso. One of the most striking things is that where we already had issues with severe food insecurity last year, this year we're seeing a further deterioration. So it was already bad, and that's the spirit, because like I said, this year has been the year deemed the year to turn up. So if it was bad last year and this year it got even worse, what do you expect next year? Doe Hernert said in Dakar while presenting findings from the latest food security report by regional governments, the UN and the aid groups. The cross-border region between Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger is the epicenter of West Africa's escalating humanitarian crisis, which is compounded by climate change, severe floods, and droughts, placing more than 10 million people in need of assistance, the UN said in a statement this week. So, I probably won't read the whole thing because this is a pretty lengthy article, but the point has been made. They're talking about at least 25,000 people could be basically suffering from not lack of food, and then it said, then it could go on to it said, which is compounded by climate, the cross-border region between these three regions, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, in the epicenter of West Africa's escalating humanitarian crisis, which is compounded by climate change, severe floods, and droughts, placing more than 10 million people in need of assistance. So those three different regions, they say at least 10 million people could be affected. So the point of the article, the main point is, how, because you got to understand this system they're trying to actually bring it to fruition is going to affect the whole world. So the thing that's going on in the whole world are going to affect every place in the whole world, because it's a spiritual thing. Scriptures talk about the Most High created spirits of vengeance. Let me get that. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, of the book of Sirach, chapter 39. The point is verse 28, and it reads, "There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance." Skipping down to verse 31, "They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word." So when these judgments go forth, the Lord is not going to be slack with them. The angels is not going to be slack with them. You got angels and spirits that jump on these people to actually, do particular acts. You got a spirit of we just experienced what that this year to a degree, but definitely last year, that CV-19 pandemic whole scenario situation, that was a spirit in the earth. And famine is gonna be a spirit in the earth when people go without food and can't find food. And you already have that taking place to a degree now, but wait till it's on a larger scale. It's the book of Second Ezra, chapter 15, and the point is verse 49, and it reads, "I will send the plagues upon the widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy houses with destruction and death." So the Lord is, it tells you that the Lord uses such things for judgment. This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15. I'm going to go start up. It says, for wickedness have exceedingly, well, I'm going to start up. It says, 2nd Ezra 15:5, behold, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, Salakia, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, the souls of the just complain continually. Jumping to verse 11, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. And the modern day Egypt is Babylon the Great, aka America. Skipping of, where am I going? Verse 19. I'm gonna start with verse 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Verse 19, the point, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So that famine that's taking place in that land, because this is about the umpteenth time that I've heard these different UN individuals that work for the UN make these statements about it's going to be issue with food and a lack of food and yada yada yada. And most people don't recognize or want to take heed to nothing until it's too late. So that's and it's been happening time and time again. When you go into the prophets, the prophets are sent out to give a warning to their people, and for the most part, you have a remnant. It's always a remnant, a group that will turn back, and that's the elect, the group that'll turn back and repent. But you got the majority that always want to, basically be rebellious. And again, like I said, these things are going to affect not just over there in Africa, because, out of sight, out of mind to most majority people, but it's going to affect over here as well. Bear with me for a second. So, right there. So this is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6, and I'm going to start at verse 22. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So, it's saying that, when you go into suddenly, that's just like how you, when it talks about Yahweh coming back as a thief in the night, when least expected. Suddenly is when you don't expect it to happen. So, one day, and this will affect us all. One day you'll look up and, things that will have to change. Just like with the CV-19, one day we were all just living our lives, and then next thing you know, an outbreak happened, and basically where it gave these different governments more control for your safety. So you couldn't move and operate in the world like you once could. That was suddenly how that appeared. Although it had been, trial runs and different, event 201s and all these different scenarios will have been playing out through the UN and different, although they had been practicing things, it was new to us. So it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. The point was, friends fight one against another because they're going to fight for what you may have. It talked about, like I said, when I was reading 2nd Ezra, that, what it say, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. It tells you in the book of Isaiah chapter 19 that the Egyptian shall fight Egyptian. And the modern day Egyptian is these red Hebrew Edomites, a.k.a. these Babylonians, a.k.a. these Americans. And 2/3 of our people that's caught up in this, the Americanized, these heathen, because 2/3 of our people are not aware of who they are or haven't come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, are heathens. So with that all being said, like this famine is real. We haven't been basically affected by like that, but we've been affected by inflation. So wait till because when you take time to think about it, like this is not made up, or you got individuals that couldn't afford to even do a tradition like Thanksgiving, and that lets you know that change is about to come. This has been a tradition for hundreds of years, this Thanksgiving. Then you literally do a survey where you have people say that 1 out of 4 families can't. So that's pretty much, 25% of the country. 1 out of 4 people. That's a huge. So if they couldn't afford it this year, just imagine next year. Because inflation ain't going nowhere soon. And those that can't afford getting certain food because of the prices on the food, that's somewhat of a famine right there. Because there's a lack of bread. They can't eat. But the scriptures tell you in the book of Isaiah that my servant shall eat. And we trust in the Lord because it tells you in the scriptures that the Most High is a man, he cannot lie. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of your power, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, before the evil day, or you will, like the elder Apostle Tahar always says, get caught out there lacking. Because, like I say, man lives on more than bread alone. And, we coming into some times of, people going to despair. This is a time that you're going to have faith in something that, that you can't see. You know what I mean? If you want to stay solid and true to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And that's one of the reasons why I believe that the Lord takes us through our different trials and tribulations. Because the Lord will bring you low, but then he'll be the one to deliver you from it. Giving you what? Ultimately, more trust in him. So with that, I'm going to end the lesson. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak. I'm going to say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, teaching to rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the 4 corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwath, as well as the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson, I'm going to say shalom, shalom, wa shalom.